Yo, what's good, guys? So in today's video, we're going to be talking about market conditions and why they've been so choppy, right? Because the last 3 weeks, the market really hasn't moved a whole lot. There hasn't really been nice, clean moves. And so I want to talk about why that is. And, some of the things that have sort of contributed to the market being so slow, and just spread some more light on it. Before we get into that, if you aren't already, please subscribe and hit the notification button. And if you enjoy the video, give it a thumbs up. And if you aren't already, follow me on Instagram because I do post a lot of trading related things on my stories, and educational type stuff as well. So without further ado, let's head over to the computer and let's talk about why things have been so shitty.
All right, guys, so here we are at the computer. Really, there's two reasons why the market has been so choppy and not really moving much, sort of directionless, whatever adjective you want to use. There's two main reasons why the market's been sort of acting this way, right? So, reason number one is there's less money going in and out of the market at this time of year. So, what usually happens is in January, um, we see volatility pick back up, right? Because from late December to early January, people are on holidays. And there's not a whole lot of money, flowing around, and so it's pretty choppy. It doesn't move much. So most people just don't even trade during that time, right? And so it picks back up around February, and then all the way up until like summertime. There's decent volatility. Of course, this year is a little different. We saw a huge spike of volatility in like March, because of the whole COVID thing. That clearly does not happen every year. Um, and then around, June, July, we sort of start to see it drop off a little bit. And that's why, again, reason number one why the markets have been so choppy is just because there's just not a whole lot of money going into the market, right? Because a lot of banks, big institutions, a lot of people are taking holiday, whatever, and there's just not as much market movement during this time, right? So that's to be expected. That's reason number one. The markets are acting the way they are, and around September, August, things sort of pick back up a little bit in terms of volatility, and then they die down in the holiday season at the end of the year, for the cycle to continue, right? That's sort of how it works. And so this period of time, right, the market is obviously not going to have really strong moves. It's going to be a little bit consolidating, and that's to be expected. So that's reason number one. The markets have been so shitty, right? But it's good to know this because if you know when the market is just consolidating and it's not going to move much, you can be a lot more picky with your trades if you're going to trade at all. You can be a lot more picky with your trades because I know a lot of people in the last 3 weeks take trade after trade after trade and they just keep on losing, and it might not even be their fault, right? Their system could be great, could be a winning strategy, blah blah blah, and they just keep losing just because the market conditions aren't in their favor, right? It's not presenting an edge. This is what I think people don't think about. Do you have an edge right now, or do you not have an edge, right? Because some systems perform better in low volatility markets, some systems perform better in high volatility markets, um, right? Me personally, my system does best. My strategy of swing trading obviously performs better when there's more volatility because I'm holding trades for days to weeks, and if the market's not moving much, it's not really good for business, right? So yeah, I just see people in massive drawdown the last couple weeks just because they didn't know when to avoid trading. Knowing when not to trade could be just as important as knowing when to trade. And so, because of that fact, um, I've been a lot more selective with my trades. I've opted not to take trades just because I know the market's just like consolidating, right? I might be sitting in that trade a long time for it to finally move and maybe going to profit, maybe not, right? So, for that reason, I've just been taking a step back from the markets and sort of watching a little more, less trading, which has definitely probably helped my P&L. Right, knowing when not to trade is a good thing. So this is reason number one why the markets are not doing so well. But there's a second reason that some people don't know or don't think about. So let's talk about that. All right. And reason number two, which is again something that some people might not be aware of if you're a purely technical trader and you don't really look at fundamentals of the market or anything like that. Um, and so, reason number two the market's been so choppy is because there's two conflicting ideas about where the market should be headed, and there's sort of a battle between these two ideas, and that's why the market just hasn't been able to pick a direction it wants to go. That's why it's been so choppy. So let's talk about this a little more in depth. What are the two different ideas of where the market should be headed, and why is it so hard for investors and traders and institutions to make a decision? Well, and this doesn't just apply to Forex, this also sort of applies to the overall market. It's been a little more choppy in the last couple weeks. And so this is what's going on. On one hand, you have the fear side of the market, right? Because there's a constant battle between fear and greed. On one hand, you have the fear part of the market, and essentially, what this is COVID cases have been increasing, right? Increasing COVID cases. This is a dude coughing. This is a sick guy. Oh God, I'm sorry guys. I'm really bad at drawing. Anyways, so COVID cases increasing. Um, And so, there's possibly a second shutdown or lockdown. And, obviously that's not good for the economy, which causes fear, which causes safe haven flows, right? So, this is on one hand, right? On top of that, you just have a bad economy overall, right? Unemployment rate is, almost, it's definitely still in the double digits. So unemployment rate is bad throughout the whole world. Like the economy is not doing good, right? So that's the fear side of things, right? The market is fearful. It doesn't want to be too greedy. Investors are scared to really take, positions because, you never know what's going on, right? This has been a crazy year. So that's the fear side, right? This is, oh, by the way, a cardboard box. People don't have jobs. So that's so sad. Um, so yeah, you have the fear side, right? Sick people, people homeless, um, people without jobs, blah blah blah. Bad stuff going on. And so there's fear. So what's the other side? Well, obviously it's greed, but why? Why is there greed? Why isn't it just fear? And why isn't there just safe haven flows? Why isn't the market, selling off? Well, because the flip side of that is massive stimulus that has been pumped into the market by big financial institutions, um, central banks like the Fed. Crazy stimulus then pumping into the market. ECB, major central banks around the world have just been pumping money into the market since February, March, right? And so that has caused the markets to be a little greedy and rally and buy riskier assets, right? So you've had that going on. Now it's now that we have, like I said, this second wave. Now there's more of a battle, right? Because for the last couple months or 2 or 3 months, it's been actually mostly greed, right? You could have traded that sentiment and made some money. But now it's become sort of a ping pong, right? That's why it's been consolidating the last couple of weeks because investors don't know how big is this second wave going to be. Is this going to cause more unemployment? Not to mention this massive stimulus the government has been shoving into the market and the economy is now getting pulled back a little bit. And at the end of July, a lot of benefits stop, at least here in the U.S. And so obviously this is like mid-July. I'm filming this, and so investors just don't know what to do right now. The last couple of weeks, they've just been just sitting there watching, and if you're a good trader, that's probably what you should have been doing too. Not going super heavy, huge size, taking trades every single day, right? You just want to take it easy, take only solid setups if you're going to trade. But yeah, so that is reason number two why the markets have just been not moving much is people are scared to take positions. Not just normal retail traders, but big institutions are on the sidelines a lot. A lot of them have a lot of cash on hand because they're scared to put money into the market because it's a little bit overextended for what's going on right now, right? Um, They're worried it might come down more, so they're just waiting. The market's just waiting, and so it's just not moving. It's think of it like this. It's sort of like you have a crossroad, right? And you have one car here and one car here, and they're both at stop signs, but both of them are like unsure if the other person's about to go, the other one's about to go, right? I'm sure some of you guys have experienced this, and so neither of them go, and so you guys are just sort of sitting there awkwardly, just like staring at each other, waiting for someone to move, and that's kind of what's happening in the market right now. They're just sort of waiting, right? You have fear, you have greed, and they've just been sort of bouncing around. So obviously, eventually, the greed is going to win out because COVID's going to pass, the economy will recover. So the fear will go away eventually. The question is there going to be a second wave of fear in the market before the greed kicks in? That's the main thing because greed is obviously going to kick in eventually. The market is going to recover. People are not going to be scared forever. But it's a matter of when, right? And so that's why the last couple weeks, it's people just don't know. They just don't know. And so, you know, it's just been chopping around, waiting for good news or bad news or something, and it just keeps bouncing around on every headline. A vaccine, boom, greed. Oh no, cases are increasing. U.S. and China tensions, fear. So the market just does not know what to do. Um, yeah, guys. So that is the two reasons the market has not been moving a whole lot. I'm thinking in the next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, for sure in the next month, we should see at least some movement, and especially in the next 2 months, 3 months, we should see things return back to a decent, volatility. But for now, trade safe, guys. That's all for this video, and I'll see you in the next one. If you liked it, smash the like button. As always, see ya.